So I'm going to ask you to start off lying down on your back. And we're going to do a little exercise. So we're just going to first of all lie on our mat and come slowly to our breathing when you're ready. And while you're getting there, I'm just going to explain to you how we're going to go through this class. So we're looking at two different aspects. We're looking at both traditional Chinese medicine on the one side and the meridian lines. Specifically in this class, we're looking at the heart, small intestine, lung, and large intestine meridians, which predominantly run in our arms and up to our shoulders, and either down the front or down the back, depending on which meridian line are. Some of them run into our head and into our face. During the course of the class, I'm going to speak to you about these meridian lines and tell you why we're using these meridian lines. I'm also going to have a look at it from a Western scientific point of view. We're going to have a look at what we call the polyvagal theory and how the autonomic nervous system responds when we are under stress and specifically under trauma. And I think that given the circumstances that we're all in at the moment, either consciously or subconsciously, we are all experiencing a level of trauma. The one being our loss of control over our environment and over our lives, our inability to be able to either fight it or flee from it, pushes us down into our dorsal vagal space, which is our numbness, which makes us then go into potential depression, anxiety, various other things. So we're going to have a look at how we can deal with that. The other reason why we would be experiencing some low-level trauma is our inability to socialize. We are social beings. Our inability to be able to connect with other human beings is counter our very essence of being a mammal. And so we can't negate these things, and we need to acknowledge them and appreciate them, and find ways that we can navigate through this space. I love the fact that we're all doing this together as a community. I love seeing all these faces. It is absolutely amazing that in the absence of us being able to sit together, literally we can sit together virtually. So thank you very much to My Utopia and the team of My Utopia for making this possible, because it's really great having you all here. So if you can please come down to lying on our backs. We're going to start off with an exercise to release trauma, and this is something that you can use often. And what we're going to do is we're going to lie on our back, and we're going to very slowly, as we inhale, tense our feet up from our toes, through the arch, through our ankle, through our knees, hips, belly, shoulders, arms, hands, face. And as we inhale, we're going to say to ourselves, calm. And as we exhale, we're going to exhale from our head down to our neck, our arms, our chest, our belly, our hips, our knees, our ankles, and our feet down. And we're going to exhale, ease. So as we inhale, it's calm, tensing up, slowly from the top up. And as we exhale, we're exhaling out, ease as we go all the way down. And we'll talk a little bit more about this, why we do this later, but we want to have a look at how we actually force our body to tense up and then to respond to it. This builds resilience in us with regards to being able to move backwards and forwards between a state of calm and a state of stress. So we're going to start off on our feet. We're going to slowly inhale, tensing our feet, our ankles, our knees, our thighs, our hips, our chest, our shoulders, our elbows, our wrists, our fingers, our neck, and our face. And as we exhale, ease our face, our neck, our shoulders, our hands, our arms, our chest, our hips, our thighs, our knees, ankles, and feet. Inhale, calm, feet, ankles, knees, hips, chest, shoulders, elbows, wrists, fingers, neck, face. Exhale, ease, face, neck, shoulders, elbows, wrists, hands, chest, hips, thighs, knees, ankles, feet. I'll do this 2 more times. Inhale, calm, feet, wrists, knees, hips, chest, shoulders, elbows, wrists, hands, neck, face. Exhale, ease, face, neck, shoulders, arms, wrists, fingers, chest, hips, knees, ankles, feet. Last one, inhale, calm, feet, ankles, knees, hips, chest, shoulder, elbows, ankles, hands, neck, face. Exhale, ease, face, neck, chest, shoulders, arms, wrists, fingers, hips, thighs, knees, ankles, and feet. And just relax your body down and feel how it feels. Do you feel any difference? Do you feel any shift in your energy in your body? And as we lie here, I want you to dedicate today's class to yourself and the interoception of where you are at the moment, both emotionally and physically. This class is being able to understand your internal landscape and how you can play with your internal landscape in order to be able to manage your way through what's happening to an external point of view. So this class is finding peace, harmony, joy within yourself. We're now going to have a look at the way the vagus nervous system works, which we call normally the autonomic nervous system. Sometimes in class you'll hear the yoga teacher referring to a sympathetic or a parasympathetic nervous system. And basically what that is the nervous system that runs from our head down the back of our head into our throat, into our chest, and down into our digestive system. And wanders around, it ultimately goes out into our organs as well. And this nervous system works automatically based on our ability to survive. Essentially, it's all about resting and digesting, and that's our homeostasis, our neutral state that we stay in. And we should be able to go very swiftly into an action state, which is our sympathetic state, into an inactive state, which is our parasympathetic state. But what happens when we're in a state of trauma is we get stuck in the sympathetic state. So we get stuck in our fight-flight mechanism. So we're anxious, we're fighting, and ultimately we can also go down into our freeze, which is right down the bottom of the vagal ladder, where we can then pass out or go into numbness, go into depression. So the one way that we have of controlling this is through the breath. So we're going to do a couple of rounds of breath that we can use to calm this nervous system. What we're going to do is we're going to inhale to the count of 4, hold it, and exhale to the count of 8. As we inhale, we're going to take our breath all the way down into our belly, balloon out our belly. And as we exhale, we're going to exhale from our belly all the way into our chest, throat, and nose to the count of 8. So we're going to do 10 rounds of that. I'm going to start counting you for the first 3 rounds, and then I'm going to leave you to do for your own time an extra 7 rounds, having a look at inhaling to the count of 4 and exhaling to the count of 8. So we're going to inhale all the way to our belly, inhaling 2, 3, 4, hold, and exhale 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhaling to the count of 4, 2, 3, 4. Exhaling to the count of 8, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale 2, 3, 4. Hold. Exhale 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I'll carry on doing this in your own time for another 5 to 7 rounds. When you're done, you can again lie down on your back. So as you finish that off, I'm going to tell you about the next round that we're going to do, which is chanting. So the traditional chanting of yoga or Hinduism or any other religion, or even prayer. So a lot of the way that prayer is sung is all based on the same philosophy, albeit that the people didn't know about it at the time. The polyvagal theory only came around much later, is having a look at how we exhale again and the vibrations of our voice that then can massage this nervous system. So we are going to inhale and we're going to chant. I don't mind what you chant. You can chant Om, which is the most ideal. Ah, oo, are the very basic sounds of the universe that don't require the use of our mouth or our tongue specifically. So we can chant those 3 syllables without actually using our mouth very much. If you prefer to chant Amen, you can. If you prefer to chant, if anybody who knows me or follows me on Instagram know that I advocate chanting fuck if you need to chant that as well. For the simple reason is that it doesn't matter what you're chanting. It is being able to slowly exhale a sound that allows you to slow down your exhalation and create this vibration that moves through your system. So for the sake of this purpose, we're gonna chant Om, and as I say, we're chanting specifically the syllables ah, oo, ah being in your belly, oo being in your chest, and coming out of your nose. If you'd like to do it as Amen, it's going to be ah through your belly and men through your chest and your nose. If you want to chant something else, whatever you want, if you want to just hum, you can also just hum. So you just go all the way through. We're going to do that 3 times. I want you to, before you start, to lie down on your mat. I want you to feel where you're feeling energetically inside your body. Feel the vibrations within your body. Feel any sticky bits, any relaxed bits. And then we're going to do this, and I want you to feel anything that's moving through you as you are doing this exercise. Okay, again, this might work very well when you are in an argument with somebody or you're feeling frustrated. Sing your words out as opposed to saying your words out. The vibrations that song or chanting creates in your body, and the fact that it forces forces your breath to slow down, works to calm down your vagus nerve. So we're going to chant whatever you want to 3 times. I'm going to chant Om just as a guide, but you can chant whatever you want. We're going to do it 3 times, and obviously you can do it within your own time, or you can keep up with me. So we're going to inhale, exhale, and inhale to chant. And as you lie there, feel your body. Step inside your body. Step inside this space of introception. What can you feel? What can you feel that's any different? Can you feel any calming of your nerves in doing this? When you're ready, you can come back to a seated position, and we'll start our first posture, which is called the open wing pose. I'm going to show you a couple of different ways that you can do it. Essentially, what we're doing is we're stretching out. Our target area is the top of our shoulder. So our heart meridian runs from the inside of our pinky all the way up our arm and into our armpits. So we're looking at stretching our heart meridian. So we're going to lie with our left arm out the back. It doesn't actually matter which arm you start with, but just make sure you do both. You can either lie with your head down, both legs pointing forward, arm out the back. Alternatively, if you want more of a stretch, you can lift up your leg in order to deepen your stretch. You can hold your hands together in a clasp if you want an even deeper stretch. If that's painful for you, you can put one of your couch pillows underneath your body, and you can do it and create a slightly less of a stretch with your shoulder sitting in your couch pillow. We're going to hold that for 2 minutes, starting from now. So the whole point of yin yoga is not about whether you look good in the posture or not. Yin yoga is all about how you feel it. So it's important that when you're in any of these postures, that you're having a look at how it feels in your own individual body. Where does it work for you? The important thing is actually feeling the posture in the target area that we're looking at stretching out. We've got 30 seconds left in this posture. So if you would like to go a little bit deeper, or if you'd like to take off a little bit of pressure, it's important to feel that you're getting to the edge of the posture, so to be able to feel the tension in the space without there being pain, without there being tingling, without there being pins and needles. This is not supposed to be pushing you to a space of pain, but it's pushing you to a space of depth. I'm going to slowly start coming out of that. And you can just roll onto your belly and drop both arms down to the side, feeling how that energy has shifted in your shoulder. Feel any difference? You might feel some sensation. You might feel some tingling. And then we're going to roll over and do it on the other side. So again, you can have both your knees together. You can lift up your top leg to get a bit deeper in. You can grab your arms behind to go a little bit deeper. Or if you want to take off some of the pressure, you can put your pillow underneath you as a bolster, leaning your knee on your pillow. And we're starting the clock now. We're holding that posture for 2 minutes. So according to the ancient Chinese scripts, which are the developers of this meridian system, actually, before I go into the scripts, I'm going to just explain to you a little bit about how the meridian system works. It is essentially, if you could imagine, it's an electrical circuit that sheds energy into our various different parts of our body. So I don't know if you've ever been into a room that is overlit or a room that is underlit. Both can put you quite into a stressful situation. Underlit rooms where you feel a little bit uncomfortable, you can't see properly. I've been to hotel rooms before where they're really, really, really badly lit and you can't see where you're going, you can't find your things. It becomes quite stressful. The same thing in an overlit room where there's too much light, where you feel exposed and uncomfortable. So the energy system works very similarly. Of course, a perfectly lit room gives you a space of absolute total comfort. So what we're trying to do with these meridian lines is to make sure that the energy is moving absolutely perfectly throughout our entire system. The acupressure points work like dimmer switches that we can switch up or switch down depending on how much energy or how much light we're needing in any particular part of our body. We've got another 15 seconds in this posture if you need to make a shift. And then when you're ready, you can come out of that and come and lie again on your belly, both arms on either side in your rebound position, and just allow that to disseminate in amongst your body. Our next posture is going to be broken wing, where we're going to lie on our stomach, threading, doing half broken wing. If any of you feeling particularly adventurous, you can do full broken wing, which is both arms at the same time. But we're going to do, from a timing point of view, we're going to do it from a half broken wing. So we're going to do one wing at a time. So we're going to thread our arm underneath our body, and we're going to lie on top of that arm. If that is too stressful for you, you're going to lift up the opposite leg to your arm to take a little bit of pressure off that shoulder. If you feel like you need a little bit more, you're going to lift up the same leg as your arm that's underneath to increase the pressure on your arm. So our arm is thread underneath. Decreased pressure is lifting up the opposite leg. Increased pressure is lifting up the same leg as our arm. We're going to hold that for 2 minutes again, starting now. So now I can tell you what the ancient Chinese said. This is over 4,500 years ago. A famous Chinese guy called Huangdi Neijing says that the heart is the sovereign of all organs and represents the consciousness of one's being. It is responsible for intelligence, wisdom, and spiritual transformation. As the sovereign of all our organs, it rules over our entire being, physically, emotionally, mentally, and subtly. Okay, we're going to start coming out of that posture. Again, coming into your rebound position of both arms down the side, feeling any shifts, feeling energy moving through that space. And then we're going to go through to the other side, stretching our arm underneath our body, leaning down onto that arm, relaxing into that arm, opposite leg up to release pressure, same leg up to increase pressure. Remember that the left side and the right side are not the same, so you don't have to do the same thing on this side as you did to the other side. Do what feels right for your body at this particular moment. And we're on the clock. So the interesting thing about overlapping the traditional Chinese medicine with this modern Western medicine is having a look at how, for example, the heart rules our entire being and how our mind and our perception work. So they believe that the mind and perception reside in the heart and not in the brain. So the polyvagal theory is that our brain, our hearts, and the rate that our heart pumps affects how our nervous system works and thus sends the messages of our state of homeostasis or a state of equilibrium back to our brain. But it's actually a bidirectional communication. So our brain can also perceive a danger and then sends a message to our heart to increase its heart rate, or our heart rate increases and sends our message to our brain that something is wrong. This is where coffee comes in, or any stimulant that causes your brain your heart to increase its beat, which sends a false message to your brain to say something's wrong, become anxious, respond accordingly. Okay, we're going to slowly come out of that position, lying back down on your face, arms on either side in your rebound position, feeling any shifts that you may have from that stretch. Next posture is one that I quite like. I like it, I think, mainly because I really like what it's called. It's called rolling panda. We're going to come onto all fours. We're going to lift up our arm and thread it through underneath our opposite arm. Now we can either stay here. We're going to, again, our target area is this whole bit running down the back of our shoulder. Our small intestine, which is the yang meridian of our heart. So we're going to either stay in this posture. If you want more intensity, you can take your leg out to the side, rolling your shoulder underneath. If you want even increased intensity, you can grab your ankle with your hand, the top ankle with your top hand. So you are increasing the stretch at the back of your shoulder. So you can either stay with both knees down, one leg out, grabbing your leg if that's in your practice. You can also, again, put the bolster underneath your arm if it's too stressful for you, and just having your arm leaning on the bolster. You might even want to take your hand out because you have a lot more of a cushioned relief for your shoulder. And we're on the clock with that posture. And you want to really lean into that bottom shoulder so that you're getting a beautiful stretch all the way down the back of your shoulder and really creating some openness there. Really getting deep into both your lung meridian and your small intestine meridian. So your small intestine meridian, which is linked to your heart meridian, so they work together as in a yin-yang structure. It is the meridian of being able to distinguish relevant issues. If we have a look at our bombardment of news at the moment, and where it becomes quite difficult to discern what we feel is important to us and what we feel not, and be able to make clear decisions, opening up the small intestine really helps us to be able to create this discernment, be able to distinguish relevant issues, and to be able to have clarification of our minds, to be able to figure out what is important for us as individuals. We're going to slowly start coming out of that posture. And again, coming to your belly, arms on either side, into your rebound position. and letting that energy take its new space in your body, letting it disseminate through the body before we move into the next posture. And then we're going to come onto our hands and knees again and repeat on the other side. So taking our arm through, underneath. Again, you don't need to do the same as you did on the other side. We're going to take our arm underneath, either keep your legs together, take your top leg out to the side, or grab your ankle with your bottom arm, grabbing the ankle of your top leg. Taking your arm out in front of you, your top arm out in front of you, and you might want to cup those fingers, creating extra bit of pull across and really leaning into your bottom shoulder. Imagining you are one of those cute little Chinese panda bears rolling around the place. So again, if we compare this to the polyvagal theory, if our vagus nerve is activated into its sympathetic state, more and more it pulls away from our digestive system. So we may become constipated, we may have poor digestion, because our body is putting its energy into the space that it feels that it requires the most. When we are in this fight mode, our body believes that the energy needs to be going into the heart and into our ability to be able to run or fight, and the digestion doesn't become important. So you'll see often this develops into, as I say, constipation, but ultimately into gut inflammation and IBS. All of this is because we get stuck in this fight mode. Because we have this underlying trauma that sits with us and we don't learn how to move easily between the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous systems, like we did in the exercise at the beginning, where we can move from attention to relaxation and back to tension and back to relaxation easily, being able to move. It's not about being that the sympathetic nervous system is bad. It's very good for us. It's part of our survival. What's bad is when we get stuck in that space. And how do we allow ourselves to be able to move back into our parasympathetic nervous system and stay there when there isn't danger or perceived danger. And we can slowly come out of that. And again, come back into your rebound position, lying on your belly, on your mat. Our next posture is the mermaid posture. Also a nice one, even if it's just from a nomenclature point of view. We're going to take a pillow off our couch, our makeshift bolster pillow. If you can't take a pillow off your couch, you can also use the armrest of your couch as your makeshift bolster. And we're going to come into our mermaid leg. So one leg folded in front and the other leg out to the side, folded to the back. And we're going to lean over our bolster, taking our top arm over the top and getting a stretch all the way down from our pinky, all the way down our inner arm, going into our gallbladder meridian as well, which we're not going to talk about now, but it's a really good one to also get into, and maybe another class we can do that, going all the way down here, and we're getting a really, really deep stretch into our arm. If you feel like you need to put something underneath your hands that's not as much of a stretch, or if you feel like you need more of a stretch, then do it on your sofa, because if I'm doing it on my sofa, I'm going to have nothing holding my arm and really be able to get deep into my top arm. And we are starting the clock now. And you really want to relax into that position. The thing about the yin and the meridian lines and really the underlying fascia, which is more than likely the physiological thing that holds the meridian lines, is that you want to have as little movements as possible so that you're getting the deep stretch in there. The minute you start using your muscles to move, you start pulling away from the stress that you're creating in the meridian lines and in the fascia. So you're really wanting to try and keep as still as you can, resisting the urge to fidget, resisting the urge to move. That being said, if you are uncomfortable and it's excruciatingly uncomfortable, please do move out of the posture. Again, digging deep into your interoception to understand the difference within your body about pain that is making space and pain that is uncomfortable and damaging. I'm going to come out of that and have a quick rebound. You can just rest your head on your pillow, unravel that side, feel the energy flow, and then going to roll over and do the same on the other side, moving your pillow or your bolster underneath your waist, legs open and bent, and dropping your top arm over, maximizing the stretch that you're getting out of your meridian line. Meridian lines, there's a few that run there, so we're doubling up without even knowing it. So the other interesting thing about the heart meridian line is that it's obviously, again, if you have a look at it from a modern science point of view, in the vagus nerve, and what we know about the vagus nerve is increasing our heart rate and therefore increasing our fight-flight mechanism, is that it also affects our sleep. So the better condition that your heart meridian is in, or ultimately the better condition that your heart rate is in, the better you're going to be able to sleep. If your heart is weak, your mind will float, causing you an inability to fall asleep or have disturbed sleep or excessive dreaming. You may have found during this time that you are having excessive dreaming. You may not be sleeping properly. You may be having absurd dreams. And a lot of this, again, goes back to this underlying trauma that we are all feeling as a result of the lack of control of our lives that we have at the moment, and the unknown and this unseen danger that we're all hiding away from, which is a terrible space to be in. But fortunately, we have tools that can help us navigate through that. So keeping this heart meridian strong and open and really working with your heart rate and your vagus nerve is really going to help you a lot getting through this intact. We're going to slowly start coming out of that, and again, just taking your rebound on your pillow. Nice relaxed position. Our next posture that we're going to do is called, either depending on what you want to do, is to do we're going to call it either melting heart or quarter dog. So here again, depending on what you feel like, we're going to come onto our sofa with our knees and drop our chest. You can either use your pillow as a bolster. So you're going to drop your chest down onto the pillow and take your arms out in front of it. Or if you feel like a little bit more of a stretch, you're going to come down straight onto the floor and stretch out your arms in front of you. If either of these you don't feel comfortable, you can also do what's called a dog. So you're going to bend your one arm, bring it underneath your hand underneath your chin, and take your other arm out in front of you. And halfway through, you'll swap to the other arm. So again, we can either do that with the bolster, dropping our chest down onto the bolster, arms out in front. You might want to take it a little bit more and do your bolster just sideways, so just underneath your chest, arms out in front of you, or otherwise, no cushion, just your knees on the couch, dropping all the way down, arms out in front of you, or one arm bent, and then the other arm bent into quarter dog. So the nice one about this is we're stretching that heart meridian, and we're opening up our heart and grounding it at the same time. So we are going to hold this for a little bit longer, starting now. And I'll tell you, for anybody who's in quarter dog, halfway through to change arms. So again, when we have a look at the overlap between the heart meridian and the vagus nerve, the heart meridian also controls our face and our speaking. So our tongue is the root of the heart, and our mouth becomes the holding space for that. So our facial expressions, our words, etc., our speech are all controlled by our heart meridian. Interestingly, the vagus nerve controls our facial expressions as well. And so we communicate our state with our tribe, with our species, through our facial expressions and through our voice. So for example, we have intonation in our voice, so we have different pitch, and this tells people different things about our state. We also have pitches that reptiles don't have, so we have a scream, which a reptile can't hear because of the way their ear is structured. And we use these things to be able to communicate with each other about what our state is and what the level of danger is. We do the same thing with our facial expressions. So when we go into a state of fight, flight, or freeze, we start losing the ability to use our facial expressions. Obviously, those become less important. And you'll see people whose eyes are wide open, maybe their forehead is all crunched up. Generally, their eyes tend to be less and less expressive, or angry face, the same thing. You can see it all in the eyes. So our facial expressions communicate a lot about what's happening on the inside, which is interesting when you think about when your facial expression doesn't necessarily communicate what you're saying, what you're thinking on the inside, but to the person who's looking at it, it does. So in this current condition, you may find that when you do actually ever go out to the supermarket, which becomes our highlight of our day, nobody makes eye contact, nobody smiles. And so we're perpetuating the state of unnatural loss of tribalism and loss of community and loss of socialization, and increasing our state of danger amongst each other. So when you're walking in, everybody has an expression of danger on their face. You, knowing this, have an ability to shift that, and shift that for not only you, but shift those for all the people you engage with. So when you go outside and you do see somebody else, do greet them in a kind voice. Do smile at them with a kind face. Look at them with kind eyes, because this makes an enormous amount of difference to both your and their state of trauma. Okay, we're going to come out of that. Been there for a nice long time. And guess what? We get to do our rebound on the couch. So just come and lie down on your couch. Let those arms unravel. Feel any shift that you might have. Our next posture is a lovely posture that I love doing in the hammock, but in the absence of our hammock, we're going to do it on our couch, which is just as much fun. We're going to put our bum relatively far to the back of our couch, turn around. Depending on where your couch is, you might have your feet up the wall, or they might be lent on the back of your couch, or they might be hanging over, depending on what you have as a couch. And you're going to take your back off over the edge of the couch, opening up your heart and opening up your arms. And really just enjoying having our hearts wide open, having our head below our heart, allowing all the blood to go into our head and move away from our heart, giving our heart a break, taking our ego, which is our head space, below our heart. And if you want to get a little bit more tension into your heart meridian, you can turn your palms down with your hands on the floor as opposed to up. So just bring the tension into that heart meridian space and your pinky finger on the inside of your arm. So another thing that Huangdi Neijing said was that as long as the heart remains on its rightful path, the 9 orifices will follow and function properly. If the heart's desires become too abundant, the eyes will lose their sense of color and the ears will lose their sense of sound. So that's what we were saying just now about the facial expression. And when the heart is overwhelmed, how we lose that ability. Interestingly, when we go into a space of trauma where they talk about the ears lose their sense of sound, is that when we do go into our states of trauma, our ears actually genuinely do stop functioning to the same level. So we don't hear as well. These are really good things to remember in your domestic situation with both a partner and with children and with anybody else, is that when people are in a state of trauma, they do not hear you the same as they would hear you under normal circumstances. A good way of overcoming this, back to that chanting thing again, just creating that vibration, creating that calmness, creating a rest, to be able to bring you back into that connective state. We are naturally connected. When we disconnect, we suffer. How can we come back to that disconnection? Our heart's worst enemy is a lack of connection, a lack of love. Okay, we're going to come out of that. And again, come and do your rebound on your sofa, having a nice little lie down. I'm having so much fun that we're kind of running out of time. So I'm going to move through some of our more yangy postures that I was going to do with you. But what we're going to do now is we're going to do a headstand off our couch. And this is beautiful because this is a great way of being able to put pressure on our crown acupressure point on our head, as well as our crown chakra, without actually requiring to do a headstand. So you're going to come and kneel on your sofa, and you're just going to come onto your forearms and then place your head down onto the ground. So you're going to stay on your sofa, and if possible, you're going to press your thumbs into your third eye over here, so that you're pressing on your head and your third eye at the same time. Should anybody halfway through want to go a little bit more yangy, you can then put your forearms down and walk your feet to the edge of the sofa. If you really feel like it, you can start lifting your legs and coming into a headstand, which is very un-yin, but very good for your crown acupressure point and your crown chakra. Only do the headstand if you already know how to do a headstand. Do not consider trying a headstand for the first time today. If you do want to, though, you can start walking your feet towards the end of your sofa, keeping your feet on the sofa, but just putting a little bit more pressure onto your head. Otherwise, you're just going to stay with your knees on the sofa, head on the floor, and your thumbs pressing against your third eye. So the crown acupressure point in traditional Chinese medicine is called the governing vessel, or one of the governing vessels, and obviously your third eye. And pressing those two at the same time, you're helping your body gain clarity, inducing a sense of calm, and boosting your mood. It really gives you a nice overall feeling of well-being, especially this crown point that you'll be able to press through when you're doing your headstand. And then you can come out of that, make your way to your mat, and just come and lie down on your mat in your rebound posture, feeling any shifts in your body, letting your blood recalibrate in your body. And then we're going to finally take our scarves, and we're going to hook our scarf just below our hairline, kind of where these two bones meet our neck, the bottom bones of our skull meet our neck, where we have the spine going into our head. We're going to put our scarf at that point over there. And depending on the amount of pressure you want and your flexibility, you can either put one foot into the scarf, or otherwise you can put 2 feet into the scarf. You're wanting your feet to relax in the scarf, and you're wanting your head to relax in the scarf, so that you're creating pressure on that point directly below your skull. So you can put it in. If your leg stays bent, that's also fine. You're just wanting to push it against the scarf. Straighten it up if you can. You can also put 2 legs in bent to create more pressure, or you can put 2 legs in straight to create even more pressure, depending on what you feel like. And you really want to relax your head back into this. You want to relax your leg, you want to relax your bit. You want to be like a little rocking horse, but as relaxed as possible in this, really using the scarf to hold you into the space and getting deeper into those pressure points at the back of your head. So this particular pressure point is called the brain's door. And it's a fantastic way of promoting a more relaxed breath and to quell any anxieties. I absolutely love this posture. And again, anybody who's done my aerial yoga class will know that I often use the aerial hammock to do this as well, because it also forms a fantastic tool. But this, with your scarf or with your belt, being able to lie there and just get deeper into those pressure points. Usually you would massage them when you have a headache or when you've been sitting at your desk for a long time, but your fingers can never get as deep in as you can get in with this scarf and with this tension between your feet and your neck to be able to get properly in there. And then slowly release that and come and lie down in your rebound, but also in your Shavasana, and just feel how that feels. Feel if you can feel any more lightness. You can feel lightness in your neck, not so much tension, some pressure that's been taken off, some new energy that's flowing between your mind and your body. Before we go into full Shavasana, one last little point that I'm going to show you is if you take your finger down, from your finger down to the bottom of your pinky finger down to the bottom of your hand, just before your wrist bone, there's like a little soft spot between the bottom bone of your hand and the bone of your wrist. That is a fantastic pressure point for your heart as well. So pressing, having a downward pressure on that point is a very good way of calming the heart too, and calming anxiety. So this is a really good one to remember when you are starting to feel a little bit anxious. It's to press into the point between the bottom of your hand and your wrist bone. You can do that for a little bit now just to test it. You'll find that it might be quite sensitive, which is perfectly normal given our current state. Just as a little aside, on the exact opposite, so below the thumb, above the bone, the wrist bone, there's another little soft point, and that's your lung meridian. Good one to press every so often to keep your lungs nice and healthy. So we're going to go lie down into our Shavasana now. And I would like you to just put your hand over your heart, one hand on your heart and one hand on your stomach while you're in Shavasana. And I want you to think of this as being nurturing yourself, like you would nurture a child that was not in a good state, a crying child, a upset child. And be attentive of nurturing yourself. Be attentive of acknowledging what you feel and respecting it, and being kind to yourself and holding yourself. So this is a really good exercise to do on a regular basis, is to self-soothe as you would, as I said, a baby or a child that was in a state of trauma. We're going to do a little visualization as we go into our final Shavasana. And you can keep your hand on your chest and your hand on your belly to do this. But the visualization is we're going to trace our heart chakra and really kind of imagine it being lit up and healed and in good health and well balanced. So we're going to start on the inside nail of our pinky finger and imagine this energy line that runs from the pinky over the top to the outside of the pinky, all the way up the pinky, up the side of your hand, into the side of your wrist, up the side of your arm to your elbow crease, up the inside of your arm, into your armpit, goes over your breast and into your heart. And then we're going to go to the other hand, starting on the inside pinky, going over the pinky, up the side of the pinky. It's beautiful golden light of energy going to our wrist, up the inside of our arm, into the crease of our elbow, up the inside of our arm, into our armpit, over the breast, and into our heart. And then at the same time, we're going to have a look at this overflowing fountain of energy that's going to go from our heart up over both our breasts, into our armpits, down the inside of our arms, into the crease of our elbows, down the inside of our arms to the inside of our wrist, all the way down the side of our hand, up our pinkies, over the top of our pinky, lit up like a candle as it comes round onto the inside of our pinky finger. And one last time, we're going to go back into our heart, imagining this beautiful light coming up over both our breasts, into our armpits, down the inside of our hands, our arms, all the way to our elbow crease, down the inside of our arm to our wrist, down the outside of our hand, all the way up to the tip of our pinky fingers, illuminating our way all the way to the inside of our pinky fingers, the inside nail of our pinky finger. And slowly, we're going to take our arms up above our head, grabbing our left wrist with our right hand, stretching, giving that chakra, that meridian line, one last stretch, and grabbing our right wrist with our left arm and stretching that up all the way over. Beautiful long stretch in that meridian line. Stretching out, bringing our knees into our chest, giving ourselves a big hug, giving ourselves a lot of love, a lot of kindness, and with a smile on our face and a smile in our eyes, remembering that this is what we want to take out with us. This is the gift that we're going to give everybody we come into contact with, the gift of that we know that we're all in a state of trauma, and we know that with our kindness in our face and in our voice, we can state shift everybody that we come into contact with. So coming in, sitting back onto your seat, we bring our hands into our heart center, thanking ourselves for being here today, thanking ourselves for giving us the space, thanking ourselves for the loving kindness that we bestow upon ourselves. Because if we cannot bestow loving kindness upon ourselves, we cannot bestow loving kindness on anybody else. And the compassion that we show for everybody else comes from our ability to be able to be in touch with the compassion within us. So thank you very much, everybody, for joining me today. I love having you here. I love sharing this with you. And please take kindness out with you into the world as you go today, for yourself and with everybody around you. Namaste. Thank you